Welcome everybody to another episode of Cigar Store Idiots. I am Rob, and I am happy to have back with me today my good friend James Manning. James, what's happening?
What is up, my man?
What's going on?
Dude, I am putting my big old huge water bottle over here out of the way.
That is a big water bottle.
Dude, hey, I'm telling you, always go big or go home. Man,
That's
I
why I
don't
stay
know.
home, James.
Yeah,
That's why I stay home.
I'm running on a bang, so I'm running on caffeine and hate right now. I worked last night and got off at 5:45 and then come in and took a quick nap and come hang out with you for a little bit, man.
Oh, dude, you did take a quick nap.
So you're gonna get the best of me today.
Okay, good deal. Awesome. Well, as usual, we're gonna start the show off with everybody's favorite segment, sponsored by these guys right here. Let's see if we can find their. Here we go. Welcome to what the Florida moment of the day. And we're coming out of North Miami Beach, Florida. A South Florida man was accused of fatally shooting his mother Sunday after having an argument with her over orange juice, an air conditioner remote, the use of her car, and what channels the TVs were being turned on. Okay?
Wow.
Louis Martin Page, 29, of North Miami Beach, was charged with one count of second-degree murder with a deadly weapon in connection with the death of his mother, Miriam Gonzalez. The 59-year-old was reported dead at the scene. According to police, Page called 911, told the dispatcher that he had shot his mother. The television station reported. When detectives arrived at 5, Page allegedly told them he lost it and he killed her. Take me to jail.
Wow.
At least he owned it.
I know. But still.
Yeah, that's terrible. Page had been living with Gonzalez for about a month. Page told police that he began an argument when she refused to let him use the car to go look for a job on Labor Day.
Oh, well, everybody's hiring on Labor Day. It's called Labor Day.
Then after that, he was a little upset. They got into an argument about the orange juice and who was drinking all the orange juice. Sounds like my mom. Did you drink all the orange juice?
Did you drink out the jug?
You can't use my car. No, I'm just kidding. My mom would, she would totally do that to me. After arguing over the orange juice, then they started looking for the air conditioner remote control.
Okay, it is hot because it's Miami.
It's hot and it's Miami. The heat was getting everybody a little stirred up. Apparently they could not find the remote control. According to Page, his mother allegedly threatened to kill him with a knife, prompting him to shoot her multiple times.
Oh, yeah. Had to make sure she was good and dead.
I bet there was.
It was an accident, and so I made sure of it.
The closest knife to her was probably in the kitchen drawer.
In the drawer, or in the dishwasher.
Yeah, and again, Gonzalez was pronounced dead at the scene, according to WSVN. Page was out on bail after he was arrested in January on petty theft and resisting an officer. So he was out on bail.
Yeah.
At the time, based on charges, he began. At this time, he was being held in Miami-Dade County Jail with no bond after murdering his mother.
At least they got that one right.
They did. You ever been so mad,
dude,
about the TV and the orange juice that you just gonna have to end somebody's life?
Man, I don't know if I told you that story or not. I worked for Rome PD for 9 years, and you get some crazy calls. I always tell people I got like the front row seat to the greatest show on earth.
Yeah, you do.
And man, we got called one night about a guy who was trying to fight his family because they went to Kentucky Fried Chicken, got some food, brought it back to him, and he wanted sweet tea, and they brought in Coke.
How dare they?
Yes, and we've had people call that they call 911 because Mama burnt the bacon.
Is that for real?
I swear to you, man, you can't make that stuff up.
One of the main reasons that I was getting back with you on this is because we're gonna try to do a segment. We're gonna do one maybe twice a month.
Yeah.
And we're gonna do Tales from Behind the Blue Line.
There you go, because there's always plenty of them.
And I know you got some good stories.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
How long have you been in law enforcement?
So I worked for Rome for 9 years. Had not the greatest breakup with them, I guess. And so I've been working up at Walker County Sheriff's Office for about 3 months.
I gotcha.
And it's a little different up there. People are kind of different in the woods, I guess you'd say, than under the streetlights. So.
Yeah. You get any calls about wampus cats or black cats running
no,
around
man,
the
but
streets?
we had a
podcast on those. Apparently, those are in the rural areas. There's a lot of sightings on the wampus cat.
No, but I guess it was last week or week before last. I was training a rookie, and we got called about a donkey running down the middle of the road. And it's like 3 o'clock in the morning, and we're out here shining flashlights looking for a donkey in the middle of the road.
Did you find it?
No. I guess he hauled ass. Anyway, long man.
That's crazy. So, all the time you've been in law enforcement, what is some of the burning visits that's burned in your head on some of the calls you've had to go out to?
Like I'll never forget the Sweet Tea one. That one will always be there in my brain.
So they really called the police.
He called the police because they did not bring him sweet tea.
And he got coke.
And he got coke instead. My first thing is, well, dude, get off the couch, quit watching, reruns of Wheel of Fortune or something, and go get your own tea. We went one night. I think I was on night shift here, and these people had a bird stuck in their upstairs bedroom. A bird. And you had to remove the bird? I did. I went and removed the bird. I went upstairs and...
so now you're law enforcement and pest control.
Dude, I've dealt with snakes. I've dealt with birds. People call about spiders on the wall. I mean, so we go upstairs and the bird's just, kind of hanging out on the ceiling fan. And I was like, well, did you think about opening the window?
And turn it on the ceiling fan.
No, I'm scared it's going to attack me. It's like a little bitty small, like what I would always call a trash bird, I guess.
Yeah.
A little small bird. And I was like, So I shut the bedroom door, open the window, and of course out, the window flew. No big deal. So I go downstairs, I'm telling the people, hey, look, I got your bird out. I said, but you know what? Next time before you call 911, you might want to spray some air freshener. And they're like, well, what do you mean? I said, your house reeks of weed, man.
Oh,
dude,
no.
Yeah. And so they had been in there firing up all evening.
They're tripping on that bird.
Yeah, dude. And so...
it's like they had a condor in there.
Probably. Pterodactyl.
I don't think it's a bird, man.
That's right. So, but and it's like I said, dude. You go from one extreme to the next. I've been on calls where a little old lady called because somebody stole a garbage can lid, and you look in the neighbor's yard and it's laying over there with the wind.
Where the wind blew it off. Oh my God.
And then you go from something like super serious after that. I had a guy do a ride along with me, and at the time he was one of the campus pastors out at Windshape. Mm-hmm. And his daughter went to kindergarten with my kid, I believe it was. But anyway, I went by the Rome station, picked him up. He'd been in my car literally maybe 30 seconds, and they gave out a armed robbery at one of the little kind of what we call stop and rob, little convenience stores over there on Maple Street at 13th. And so, dude, I punch it. I'm running like 80 miles an hour, jump on railroad tracks and all this kind of stuff, flying sideways to the convenience store, bail out, grab my rifle. Dude, his eyes are over there looking like basketballs. Get the information we need to kind of identify the guys. One of our guys found them like a couple of streets over. So we go hook these guys up and get that kind of settled down. So then they give out a call about a shoplifter at Belk's. I thought, well, this would be kind of cool. Shoplifters are pretty easy to deal with. He'll get to see the inside of the jail. Be kind of like a grand tour, I guess, for his ride-along.
An eye-opening
experience. And that's kind of how we always feel. A lot of times when we get ride-alongs, you kind of feel like you're a tour guide. It's kind of like, well, this and this and this. And
here's where you arrested a guy for taking a dump in a mailbox.
Yeah, or what the one down there on South Broad where the guy is standing there on the corner at Myrtle Hill with the rear end hanging out.
Taking a shit on the sidewalk.
It's like, wow.
We posted that picture on social media. When I first saw that picture, I thought it was Photoshop. That thing was real. And they're like, no, dude, it's real.
I don't doubt it at all. So we go to the mall, and this girl is in custody for shoplifting. Really nice looking girl. Pretty girl. And not what you expect, but they had been watching her for like a year. And they never could catch her.
She's like a serial shoplifter.
Yeah, dude, she had shoplifted like $4,000 worth of stuff over a year. Yeah. And they could never catch her, so they finally caught her. And so take her out to the car, and she had on like a t-shirt and like a pair of yoga pants. That's all she, and tennis shoes. She didn't have like, big baggy pants or nothing. And so we get out to the car, I put her in the back of the car, I search her bag because it's going in my car, and I find some meth. And I was like, okay. So when I get in the car, I know things are gonna go sideways when she's like, hey, I wanna talk to so-and-so. And he was, the guy's name she mentioned was like in charge of the drug task force at the time. And I was like, yeah, you've been down this road before.
Yeah.
So take her to jail. She's kind of fidgety in the back seat, which is usually like a pretty good sign something's going on. Yeah. And so we get to the jail, and I told the female jailers, the intake guys, I'm like, look, loss prevention said that she was kind of fidgeting a lot. I said, she's been fidgeting a lot with her hands behind her back. Y'all might want to kind of check her out. So they take her in the back and do a strip search, come back, and this jailer has this baggie in her hand, and she starts putting it in my hand. I was like, whoa, what is that? And the girl had 9 Klonopins shoved up the back door mailbox.
Oh, she had a real prison wallet.
Yeah, she had a prison wallet going on. And so, this
you hear these stories.
Dude, this campus pastor standing looking at me like, oh my God.
Yeah. So, don't put that in my hand.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. And so, he got in the car with me probably maybe at like 5 o'clock in the afternoon. By the time we get done with all that, it's like, I don't know, 8 o'clock maybe. He'd been with me about 3 hours. And so I'm going to the gas station to get a drink right quick. And I was like, look, because he had said at one time he was only going to kind of be with me till like midnight or so. I said, so are you going to stay with me all night? Or if you are, then I'm going to kind of stop for a second, do some paperwork. I said, but if you're going to get out early, then I'll just kind of keep rolling, and then I'll take care of paperwork when you get done.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, I think I've had enough.
He's like, I've seen enough.
Yeah, and I was like, yeah, welcome to my world, man. Welcome to my world.
Oh, God. So I know all these things that you guys have to do, it's like you said, it's like a roller coaster of emotions. Like every single time you're called, you really have no idea what you're getting yourself into.
You don't, man, because a simple call can turn into something just like totally crazy really fast. Especially with people dealing with drugs, dealing with mental health issues, man.
Yeah, mental health issues are running rampant.
Very much so. And so
all over the world right now.
Well, a lot of people here in town, the guy named David, the really tall black guy that used to stand up there on Turner McCall.
Yes.
Yeah, he usually didn't have a shirt on, and usually hollering and screaming. His name was David, and he had some mental issues.
Yeah.
Never had problems with him ever before. He was always, he wasn't violent or anything.
Right.
And he had smoked some synthetic marijuana.
Oh, Lord.
And was up in the parking lot up in North Rome at the old Dollar General store, and literally was banging his head on the asphalt. EMS got there first. They told us, hey, disregard this, David, they know the guy.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, he's pulled a knife on one of them.
Yeah.
Had a steak knife.
Big, long steak knife.
Yeah, and I'm like, whoa. And so when that came out on the radio to me, it's like, well, now EMS is calling for help because the guy's got a knife. And I was like, you shift gears so fast.
Real quick.
And you go from like 0 to wide open really fast. And then while you're driving to the scene, you never really know what really happened. Dispatch, when they get information, it's not always totally accurate because they're getting it from like eyewitnesses, and eyewitnesses are great because right now, if you look at me, I've got on a red shirt, gray pants, black ball cap, black boots. An eyewitness account in a stressful situation, man, if they're giving out my description, it's probably going to be like
your shirt's orange.
Yeah, he's got an orange shirt, blue jeans, and brown boots and a red baseball cap.
Yep.
And they mix things up because your eyes kind of, when under stress, your eyes mix things up like that. And so, and how it processes it. So you're going from 0 to psycho in like, milliseconds.
Yeah.
And you're having to make decisions super fast, and that kind of stuff weighs on you. I've been to a retreat with a group called the Mighty Oaks Warrior Foundation. The guy who started it, his name's Chad Robichaud. I don't know if you know Chad or have ever heard of Chad or not. He's a former Force Recon Marine guy, Special Forces guy. He's a 2nd degree black belt under the Gracies.
Oh, wow.
He's a former Bellator world champ. Just a super amazing guy. But he started this group because they were seeing the really scary numbers of veteran suicides. And so they were like, we want to reach out to these people. And then they started seeing the same kind of numbers in first responders. So they also reached out to first responders. But they call it's called the slow drip. So in big cities like Atlanta or whatever, you have one just big event after the next, and you can look at it and go, okay, that's when things change with me, right? Because I walked into a multiple shooting, or I went to a car wreck where all 5 people in the car were dead, or whatever. You can point to that one big event that made things change for you. Right. In smaller agencies, it's a slow drip. It's like that drip of water that just keeps adding up, and so guys don't really have outlets around here. Guys and girls and first responders, whether it's police, firefighters, EMS, whatever. So people don't understand. They look at police officers or firefighters and they think that they may be a jerk or maybe short or whatever, but you don't know what they just went through.
Sure.
You don't know what call they just got off of.
You got 3 hours of sleep.
Yeah. All right. And or it's like I said, I was training a rookie last week, and it's like I told him, in our profession, you can't. So if I get in a foot chase and I chase a guy through 3 backyards and have to fight him and get him into cuffs and drag him back to the car, whatever, I can't go home after that. I can't go, whew, that sucked, and go home. Yeah. You got to put your uniform back together the best you can and go back to work. Mm-hmm. We had a call down in South Rome one night. We thought a guy was fighting another guy. But stuff was getting thrown out the window. Dude about threw a couch out the window, man. And so he was throwing stuff out the window, hollering and screaming. And so we had exigent circumstances, thought somebody was getting killed, so I booted the door. Yeah. And so we go in there, and it's a guy fighting with himself, basically. Uh-huh. But he had cut his wrist.
He was fight clubbing himself.
Yeah. Well, he had cut his wrist when he busted out the window, so he bleeding everywhere, dude. So we get cuffs on him, we get him down it was down a big embankment to the ambulance, and I'm standing there with him, and one of my guys looks at me and goes, "Hey, Manning, look out." And literally his wrist was squirting like a garden hose.
Oh my gosh.
And it's all over my pants, all over my shirt, all over my gun belt, just everywhere. And I'm just standing there like,
this ain't like dumping coffee on yourself.
No, dude. No, you got somebody's blood, and you don't know if that guy has anything. And so, so I'm trying to like take stuff off and not get everything all over me, and I couldn't go home, dude. Yeah.
You can't let the kids see that.
Yeah. And so luckily I had another uniform at the station, so I threw that one in a garbage bag and threw it in my locker to clean later and just change uniform. Mm-hmm. But I mean, I had to go back to work. You can't just
that's the thing. Out. You can't have a bad day and punch out. And go home.
Well, Chad Lyman, he is the guy that runs the jiu-jitsu program for Randy Couture at Randy's gym. Super cool guy, man. He's in law enforcement. But he says a quote. I'm gonna look at it right quick on my phone because I saved it yesterday because I thought it was really, really good talking about law enforcement. Because I teach at the police academy, defensive tactics. I've always taught for at the departments I've been at. And his quote says, "Second place means that I'm dead."
That's right.
And a lot of people look at police officers and they're like, "Well, he's just being a jerk, or he wrote me a ticket, or whatever." They don't know, what he just went through.
Sure.
Right? Yeah, he wrote you a ticket for speeding because he just came off a wreck where a kid was killed because somebody was speeding.
Yeah.
Or he wrote you a seatbelt ticket because your kid's not buckled.
Yeah.
And he just worked a wreck where a child got killed, was bouncing around in the car because mama didn't have him buckled.
I tell this story. We had a good friend of ours a long time ago, years ago. He worked for the fire department, mm-hmm. and he worked down in Atlanta. And one day he just comes home and he's like, "I quit my job. I got a job at Home Depot." So nobody questioned him. Nobody said anything. And then one night we were all out. We were kind of, I guess we're having a cookout or whatever, and everybody was kind of drinking. And one of our friends is kind of mouthy and just kind of says whatever's on his mind. And he's like, "So what happened, man? You decided you had enough at the fire department? You just gonna get a job at Home Depot and make less money? I mean, helping people put lumber on a truck?" And he just kind of sat there and he kept drinking. He never made eye contact with anybody. He said, "Well, you can only see so many burned up children before you want to make a career move." And then we all were like, we never thought about it like that.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it's a hero's job, but man, you have to. That cape gets heavy.
It takes a toll on you.
Yeah.
And then you got, like you said, you're running off 3 or 4 hours sleep. You're getting called into court when you're supposed to be, because the prosecutors and judges and stuff, they don't care if you worked last night.
That's right.
You know,
you just gotta be in court.
Yeah, and so they'll be like, hey, I need you in court at 9 a.m. and you just got off at 7. And then you get there, and it's like, oh, and some of them here are really good about it. They're like, oh, you work night shift, let me get you done first, so you can go get some sleep.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't care, and it's like, you know, hey man, I've been up all night. I'm stuck in court till 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
And you gotta be back at work.
I gotta be back at work at 7.
Yeah.
You know, so I gotta go home, get a shower, try to get some sleep. By then, you're processing and thinking, dude, I gotta sleep. I gotta sleep. Oh crap, I can't sleep. You know. Because you know how it is when you're trying to sleep, it's like you can't. It ain't coming, dude.
Yeah, right.
And you get to that point where you're so tired that you can't fall asleep.
Yeah.
And so I was reading Dave Grossman's On Combat book. So he's got a really cool spiritual devotional out called On Spiritual Combat. And while you're reading it, he recommends that you read portions of On Combat with it. And one of the things he talks about was how lack of sleep affects people. And it was talking about how if you go for like 2 or 3 days with minimal sleep, so like, you know, I work tonight, I get like 3 hours sleep. I work tomorrow, I get 4 hours sleep. You know, by the time you've done that like 3 days, you're operating at somebody at the level who has a blood alcohol concentration of 0.08.
That's what I was about to say.
Yeah.
I mean, you can hallucinate.
Yeah.
You see stuff.
You know, and you're in a job where you have to make decisions really fast.
Seconds means life or death.
Yeah, exactly right. Not just yours, but other people's.
Right.
And so, yeah, it's a hard career on your body. It really is. It's a hard career on your mental health. Because like we said, you see so many things. I know there's a firefighter here in Rome, and I don't remember his name, but I know he worked a wreck, and I think it was over here across from Applebee's, that big embankment right there that used to go where the duck pond was.
Right.
And so he rolls up on the wreck, and normal gets out, kind of looks, and car is the same kind of vehicle his wife drives. Think nothing about it, you know. And starts to go down the hill, and some of his guys on his truck grabbed him like, no, you ain't going down there. And it was like his wife and 2 or 3 kids.
Oh my God.
And all of them are dead.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and that's the call he went to.
Yeah.
You know, and so it's that kind of stuff, man, that you can't shake it off. No, dude, you can't shake it off. It follows you.
Yeah.
And so you know, some of the stuff here that I've dealt with, you know, you think about it a lot. You know, there was a shooting down in South Rome one time, and I don't know if we talked about this on the last one or not, but a guy and a girl got shot. It was a drive-by. The girl standing on the front porch. She gets shot one time on the left side. It cuts all the way across and hits both lungs. The guy's at the front door. He sees it, turns around. They shoot him twice in the back. He's sitting up carrying on a conversation with us like nothing happened.
Wow.
He's got 2 bullets in his back, and he's carrying on a conversation.
He's got street cred.
Yeah. The girl is laying on the ground. When I get there, my sergeant at the time, Brandon Pledger, he owns that combat market over here. Yeah. Man, Brandon's an awesome guy.
Yeah, they are. They're dudes over there.
So he was my sergeant. He calls me on the radio because I always, you know, keep a med kit in my car, and I've been through a lot of kind of like combat casualty care stuff. So he calls me and he's like, hey, I need you here now. And so I'm, you know, wide open, as fast as my Crown Vic can go, dude. And so I come flying in with my bag. I'm like, what's up? And so I see her on the ground. She's got a bullet hole in her, and she's literally coughing up chunks of lung.
Oh my gosh.
And so basically she's got what's called a sucking chest wound, which means the air is going in through the whole inner chest, and it's collapsing her lung. So she's going to suffocate if we don't do something with it. So I'm going to put what's called a chest seal on there. Basically it's just a piece of plastic, real sticky plastic, that you put on the entrance wound and the exit wound, and that keeps that air from coming in. Then it's gonna build up pressure, and it has a valve on it that releases that pressure. So then she can start breathing again. So I go to put this seal on there, and as I do, she goes, ah, and throws her arms up in the air and knocks it out of my hand, and it folds over on itself. And it's like those old fly papers, you know, so sticky, you can't peel it apart. So then I'm trying to make a chest seal out of a piece of plastic, the packaging, and putting tape over it to make it work. But at one point in time, EMS gets there. We're already covered in blood, so there's no need for everybody else to get, you know, so we pick her up, we're gonna take her out the door. And Pledger looks down at her and he says, hey, you're gonna be okay, we got you. She's a single mom, 3 kids. He's like, hey, you're gonna be okay, we got you. And she just looks up at him and she said, nope, I'm out of here. And I was like, in that moment, dude, I lost all breath in my chest.
Yeah.
It was just like, and she wound up making it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, she had 3 emergency surgeries. Doc said if we hadn't made her a chest seal, she probably wouldn't have made it.
Yeah.
But dude, I was packing bullet hole with quick clot gauze. Dude, I was 3 knuckles deep in her chest, trying to get that hole packed.
Yeah.
And so it's stuff like that you remember, man, because I will never forget as long as I live with her looking up at him and going, "Nope, I'm out of here." And I was like, "Oh, that was like a mule kick to the gut." That was like a Ricky Lockhart kick right there. That hurt bad.
It's like, we've been talking a lot about this here lately with everybody's mortality. It's coming. Yeah. That's one thing.
There ain't no way out of here, man.
There ain't no other way out.
We ain't getting out of this thing alive, dude.
And but when you deal with it on a daily basis, it's got to be taxing.
It is
on the brain.
And then you see people who have no concept of mortality. You see these young kids.
People live forever.
Well, you see these young kids, 15, 16-year-old. Well, dude, we had this case up in Walker County like 2 weeks ago. 3, I think they were all 16, I'm not sure, but 3 16-year-olds rolling around with AR-15s in people's backyards. And it's like, huh? Because they have no concept that in a brief second, man, your life is over.
Yeah.
And they don't understand that. And so, when you see it all the time, a lot of people get hardened to it.
Mm-hmm. You kind of have to.
Yeah,
get
you do.
disconnected.
And then, and that's where a lot of people kind of get in trouble. If you don't, I've learned that if you don't deal with those feelings and address them in some way, they're going to build up, and you're going to wind up in a really bad spot.
I've always wanted to work on the side of catching predators, like internet predators and stuff like that. But I was told when you do work on that, you can never take it out. You can't ever leave it at work.
Yeah.
Those images that you see are there forever.
Yeah.
Like you cannot unsee some of the stuff that they have to look at and deal with.
Yeah. And I've been around guys that were
They're too emotional.
Yeah.
They're like you'll track somebody down.
Well,
you can't have a job.
I've been around guys that have worked like child sex crimes for like 10 years or something. And it changes who they are.
Yeah, man. I love kids.
Yeah.
Like my whole thing is like, I can help get these monsters off the street, but then again, can I really look at some of that and then and be able to function again?
God has really took care of me in so many ways in my law enforcement career because honestly, I've done some stupid stuff, and I've been in some sideways situations, but I've been probably sent to maybe 3 or 4 wrecks where kids were involved and they died.
Goodness.
They were in my sector. I should have been sent to that wreck, but something always happened. Like one time, I remember when it was up in North Rome, right there around Callahan Street. And it's when the mama was buckled and the daughter in the back wasn't, and she basically just kind of bounced around the car. I think she was 7 maybe.
Because kids are notorious for getting in the back seat and their seatbelt.
And so she, that was my sector. I should have worked that wreck, but I was on the way to the jail, taking somebody to jail for somebody else. Somebody had made an arrest. They're like, "Hey, you run up there for me so I can kind of get started on this paperwork." And I was like, "Yeah, man, I'll run them up right quick." And so I was already past all that when it happened, and I was like, "Man, that's just that's God kind of protecting my brain because He knows how I am."
Sure.
I remember when that little girl was beaten by the mama's boyfriend, the little blonde-headed girl, and she was within about 5 or 6 months of the same age as Bennett was, my little girl. And I was working at the hospital that night, kind of as a side job, and I took that first report.
Oh, wow.
And so when I asked, "Hey, where's he at?" They're like, "Oh, he's in the car in the parking lot."
You're like, "What?"
Yeah, dude, I went looking for him.
Yeah.
And honestly, if I had found him,
he wouldn't have had a job.
I might have been in prison.
Yeah, for real.
Somebody got broke, dude.
Dude, I'm right there with you.
Because that little girl was so sweet, and
I'd be like, I tripped and fell on my gun went off.
27 times.
27 times.
But only shoot 17. I know I reloaded. So. But he had got out of the car and walked, kind of walked out Shore Avenue.
He's trying to get the hell out of Dodge.
But I mean, it was one of those situations where I was like, God protected me in that situation.
Yeah,
Because,
unique.
but yeah, I
couldn't
couldn't have. And so, you know, you get in those situations, those times where you look back and you're like, whew, that was some protection right there.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but yeah, man, it's really taxing on your mental health. You have a hard time not bringing it home, because you see how people treat their family, treat their kids, and man,
there's no respect for law enforcement right now either. So even the families, like I have family that's in law enforcement, and they're always, it seems like their spouses are always having to defend specific situations on Facebook and things like that. And they're always catching grief over, I mean, people just act right. You don't got to go to jail if you act right. I mean, I don't know what's so hard about that.
I mean, you know, just do the right thing, man.
Be good to people.
Yeah. Be good to people, and don't be an idiot.
Yeah.
And you know, and people
if you don't get sweet tea, don't call the police about it.
Don't try to fight your family.
Get your fat ass up and go make some.
Yeah. Or go get your own, dude. You know,
it's $1 at McDonald's.
I mean, you know, I don't know if DoorDash would deliver you some sweet tea or not. They probably would. You know,
Here's your $10 sweet tea, sir.
Yeah, that's right.
What do you mean no tip? What do you mean?
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's just people they just don't know how to act anymore.
Yeah.
You know, because you know as well as I do, dude, if we acted that way,
my dad would have beat the brakes. He still would.
Oh,
My dad still beat my ass.
Yeah. I mean, I ask my kids all the time when they get in trouble and, you know, everybody gets their little tail tore up. I'm like, hey, you want to walk with a limp? and
you want to talk with a stutter?
A stutter. But yeah, man, we had a police officer that lived around the corner from where I grew up, man. And he would, you know, he'd drive by in his police car. His name was Glenn Harper. He worked for County PD. Super great man. But every day I'd be outside playing in the front yard, tearing stuff up probably. He'd drive by and he'd holler at me and go, hey, you little girl. I'd be like, hey, you big baby. But, you know, it was nothing but respect.
Yeah.
Dude, you know?
I mean, that was me growing up. Like, I never, when everything was kind of going off the rails last year, and even now in Chicago and stuff that goes on in law enforcement, people just attack them in the streets and they can't do their job. They just get in their car and leave.
Yeah.
And it's like, who wants that job up there? Who the hell wants to go work there?
Well, I mean, it's like, was it Detroit that those two female officers saw that guy get shot and just drove the other way?
Yeah, because they can't do their job.
Yeah, and I'm like, are they going to get crucified for doing that?
Yes, exactly.
And that's one of the things that's always scared me is, well, you look at the officer in Atlanta that shot the guy in the drive-thru at Wendy's, right? Mm-hmm. That officer did everything right that night. Mm-hmm. Every single thing he could do right, he did.
Right.
And still got fired, still got arrested, and they tried to prosecute him.
And are they still trying to prosecute this guy?
No, I think he's done. They returned no bill, whatever.
I know. I love Atlanta, dude. That's my city. I mean, I love it. I love everything about it. We go all the time just because there's cool stuff going on down there that we're always involved in.
Yeah.
We like to go out to eat places that we ain't Applebee's.
I don't know. Yeah,
we go everywhere.
Yeah.
We just go. But anyways, we'll go down there and we went the past couple of weeks ago, and we were driving around and I was like, man, I said, this is our city and I love this city and we're so close to it. I said, but I've never felt so unsafe to go to Atlanta in my whole life.
Yeah.
As I do now. Like it's scary. It's dangerous.
It feels like a powder keg.
Yeah.
It feels like it's about to
You're gonna be in the wrong place at the wrong time, and something bad's gonna go down. So.
In House Bill 218, right? It's a law that was signed into effect, which basically is called the Police Officer Safety Act, and it basically says by federal law, police officers, as long as they're duly sworn, certified police officers in good standing, they can carry a firearm anywhere they want to, except on an airplane and in a federal courthouse or private property. So we go to the Georgia Aquarium for an event for my little girl. I'll never go back as long as I live, ever. And so I walk in, show them my badge. They're like, well, you can't bring a gun in here.
You're like, oh,
I'm a police officer.
yes, I can.
Like, no, you can't. And you can't because it's private property. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So they're like, well, you have to go put it up. And my little girl kind of looked at me like, Daddy, and I was like, okay, fine. So I go put it in my car.
Which you did not park close. So
I did. I did.
Yeah.
And so, but I did it for my little girl.
Sure.
And so by the time I got back, I was kind of agitated a little bit, and so and I got a little mouthy.
Yeah.
And I had to talk with the guy who's head over security. I'm like, well, let me ask you a question. What's your idea about this? And he said, well, you know, these tanks are full of water, and somebody shoots them. I said, okay, I get that.
Yeah.
I said, but one of your little displays shows these tanks having 2 foot thick glass. That's going to stop a bullet. I said, plus, if I shoot that with a 9mm and it makes a hole in it, how much water is going to come out that hole? Here's my thing. That, to me, is a soft target.
Oh, absolutely.
You've got long, narrow hallways that are completely black.
Yep.
Thousands and thousands of people coming through there at one time.
Drop a bag off in there.
Dude, I'm telling you, man, because if a bad guy wants to get a gun in there, he's going to get a gun in there.
Well,
or a bomb,
this is
like you said.
Yeah, what scares me is like we were always, Tennessee Aquarium's awesome.
I love it. That's where we started going after Georgia.
But you don't want to be in the middle of that aquarium if somebody drops a bomb.
Oh, heck no, dude.
Everybody's going to drown.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
It's literally, like you said, it's a soft target, and there's no way to get out of there.
Yeah.
I mean, if that thing was to blow, if somebody was to blow up one of those tanks, I mean, it would be catastrophic.
And I asked that guy, I said, so what's your response idea? He's like, well, Atlanta PD. I said, okay, how long is it going to take them to get here? He said, like 3 or 4 minutes. I said, how many people's going to die in 3 or 4 minutes?
A lot.
Yeah. I said, the average active shooter situation lasts about 3 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
You know, even in Rome, Georgia, you know, which everything's kind of pretty close, right? If we have an active shooter event, let's say at one of the bigger churches, like I said, you know, you're talking 3 to 4 minutes before anybody gets there. Mm-hmm. Whereas if I've got a police officer on scene, armed and ready to roll, yeah, it's going to save lives.
Yeah.
Like that Texas shooting, you know, that guy was, I think, former police officer, and was like a firearms instructor or whatever. That guy come in with a shotgun, and, you know,
he killed 2 people.
Yeah.
But it would have been way worse.
Yeah, and he laid it down.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I mean, I have an issue with places like that, because you got guys that are trained. You know, not every single police officer probably needs to carry a gun all the time. You know, there's police officers that every single year they struggle to qualify. Mm-hmm. And I'm just one of these people, man. If I carry a gun for my job and I'm relying on it to save my life, dude, I'm gonna practice it.
You're damn sure gonna know how to use it.
Heck yeah, dude.
Yeah.
And you got guys that have specialized training, like SWAT guys or whatever, dude. And you put them in that situation, that's what they're trained for.
Well, here's the other thing too. You know, go back talking about SWAT and just being a beat cop. When the shit goes down, you gotta be clear.
Yeah.
And you gotta be able to act.
Mm-hmm.
And everything that you do has to be. You gotta be precise.
Yeah.
You have to. Because what you don't want is somebody that cracks under pressure when it goes down.
Yeah, and start spraying and praying, baby.
Yeah,
you got bullets like, you got, you know, because, and they will tell you that once that bullet comes out of your gun, you're responsible for it. You know?
Wherever it goes.
And that was one of the things I like 9mm, but I'm not a super big fan.
Yeah.
9mm is such a fast round. It has a tendency to overpenetrate. So let's say I you know, go in a house and I'm looking for Junior. You know, he's got a warrant, and Junior steps out in the hallway. Steps out in the hallway. Goes, nope, not going to jail. He pulls up a gun. I shoot him. Right, justified. But my bullet goes through him.
He's pumping off adrenaline
and kills his 7-year-old kid.
Oh yeah, that too.
You know, granted, by the law, I'm okay. I'm covered. Mm-hmm. But dude, I gotta live with my life.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what a lot of people don't I guess they forget or whatever. That what cops do, we have to live with. You know, and they're like, oh, cops should have started shooting all these people. Yeah, show me the stats because it's not there.
No.
But you have to understand that I've met some really good cops and I've met some crappy cops. Mm-hmm.
It's every day.
Yeah, it's like everything else in the world.
Yeah, I worked at a bank and worked with some great people, and I worked with some really shitty people too. So.
And so even the bad cops, right? The crappy cops that look like a busted can of biscuits and don't need to be police officers anymore. Mm-hmm. They're not. They have no desire to just go out and intentionally start shooting people.
No,
right?
It's too much paperwork.
Yeah, it's exactly right, you know. And who wants to lose their freedom?
Right.
You know.
Because you will these days.
Yeah, and that's one thing that always makes me want to toe the line and do the right thing is I don't want to look at my kids grow up through a jail cell.
No way.
You know.
Who wants that life?
Hey, there's a lot of people that do.
Yeah.
You know, when I went up to Walker County, one of the things they wanted me to do was work in the jail for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, I'm a road cop. I ain't gonna work no jail.
Ain't babysitting these people.
Yeah, but it opens your eyes to a lot of stuff. Because you got guys in there, man, that they get out, you know, so they'll spend 10 years in prison, they'll get out, and they'll come right back because they can't function
perform in society.
Yeah. Well, think about how much the world changes in 10 years.
Yeah. Think about how much it changed in 2 years.
Oh, I
Could
know.
you imagine being in jail right now and then getting out now?
Yeah. You know, with computers and phones and all this other kind of nonsense.
Technology passes you by.
Yeah. And you know, and I'm computer stupid, dude.
Me too.
Yeah. I'm like,
I'm glad I have Tyler to help me.
there you go. Yeah.
Coach me through all this.
I can't wait till Bennett gets a little older and she can show me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I can handle my cell phone and she does better than I do.
Yeah.
But
have a cell phone for dummies.
Yeah. But you know, all these people, man, they'll go to jail and they'll be right back. And it's like, why, dude? He's like, I can't function.
I had an uncle of mine, career criminal. I think maybe he may have got his stuff together. It's yet to be seen, but that was him, dude. He could have done anything. He literally can do anything. Super smart, healthy, and just couldn't get it together for a long time. So
well, and
took probably half of his life to figure it out. You know,
and your kids grow up without you.
Which is a huge problem in society today.
Because then you have the lack of daddies in homes.
Yeah,
mom
grandma
trying to do it all. Or
grandma was raising everybody while mom was trying to work. Or
grandmama's 8 years old trying to take care of people, trying to take care of a 14-year-old smart mouth teenage kid who's been running around with his thug buddies.
Yep.
But you're exactly right, and that's one thing that I think guys like us need to learn, especially me, need to learn to step in and try to be those mentors for people. You know, that's one of the things, like, that's the way I look at coaching boxing.
Yeah.
You know,
and I'm glad you said what you said.
Yeah.
Because now that's what I want to talk to you about.
Yeah.
I want to know. I know you've been working. When did you start taking karate? How old?
1993.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Big year.
Yeah, 2 years after I graduated.
So you've always had your hands in training folks.
Yeah.
Self-defense, boxing, kickboxing, and then handling firearms as well. So if you would go over what you're doing now with kickboxing, boxing, and with your firearm training.
Yeah, man. So when I got into law enforcement, I had 2 goals. Well, 3 goals actually. Number 1 was I wanted to be on SWAT because that's just kind of one thing I always wanted to do. I wanted to get my firearms instructor certification because I love shooting, and I wanted to get my defensive tactics instructor certification, which means I teach DT at the police academy and stuff like that. Because, like you said, man, I've been around martial arts and fighting for a long time. I just have a passion for it. I love it. And so when I had the Forge a few years ago, I had a couple of guys that were coming in that were boxing. I saw, dude, I was up at 5 points at the gas station when I was working. And as I drive by, I see this guy standing in the doorway of a truck. And he is just throwing bombs, man. And I thought, oh God, he is beating the snot out of somebody. So, man, I go in there on 2 wheels, jump out of the car. Hey, he turns around and he's over shadowboxing. And it's one of the kids that I used to train in my place. And I'm like, what's up? So we talk. Yeah, we start talking, and he tells me, you know, that he wants to get fighting a lot. And so I go over to Thomas Worthy's place over at In Shape Fitness. He's got a boxing gym, and start helping out over there. Some of the young kids that are competing want to box or kickbox. I've been over there helping them, getting them ready. I got a 15-year-old kid getting ready for a boxing match this weekend.
Oh, cool.
We're going down to Macon for a club show.
Ooh, that's a haul.
Oh yeah, dude. Well, and so what's bad is I got to work Friday night.
Oh my God.
So I get off at 7 in the morning, get in the car, drive down there, try to find some sleep somewhere.
Yeah.
And then, you know, we'll be at the show that afternoon for the fight, and then I got to work Sunday night too. And so yeah, I'm gonna be dead.
Ain't no rest for the wicked.
Yeah. But yeah, it's. I've always said, and I'll say it till my last day. I've never been concerned about money. You know, money's great; it pays bills or whatever. When I had a gym, again, we talked about this before. I'm a horrible businessman because I do business with my heart, not my head.
Same here.
And so, but my thing is, man, I want to make an impact on people's lives, right? When I die, hopefully that's a long time from now, but after I drink, 2 or 3 bangs a night, who knows? But when I die, I want people to go, man, he impacted my life. And that's kind of how I look at boxing and kickboxing with some of these younger kids, and try to use it as an outreach and a ministry for some of them who don't have a daddy, for some of them who don't have that positive male influence. I want to be that guy that steps up and says, hey, this is how you're supposed to be. You're supposed to be a good person. You're supposed to treat people with respect. You're supposed to have discipline. Not a lot of people, when they think of discipline, they just think, I'm gonna beat the snot out of my kids. That's not discipline.
Yeah, no.
That is disciplining your kid, but discipline means I get up in the morning, I go to work, I do the things I'm supposed to do. I have the discipline to eat right. I have the discipline to work out and take care of my body or whatever. That's what true discipline is.
Yeah, be disciplined to be a good person.
That's exactly right. To do the right thing, and so that's kind of how I look at training people. They have a larger boxing class on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 6:15. I think Thomas does like your first week for free. But usually I'm in there either before or after at weird times with them, because those are my guys that are getting ready to fight. And I want to make sure that they're ready, because there's no worse feeling than stepping in the ring and looking across the ring and knowing that guy wants to tear your head off
and you're not prepared
and you're dead tired. I've been there once before, and I'll never do it again.
Yeah.
I was in a fight over in Alabama one time, and it's back when Stan Hansen was coaching me, and dude, I was exhausted, man. I had nothing left, and I'll look over there across the ring, and the guy's not even breathing hard.
You're like,
and I was
son of a bitch.
Oh crap, this is gonna suck.
I'm about to take a nap.
Yeah, and so luckily I went out. I knew I probably had one more good round in me. So luckily I went out there and put some combos together and cracked him, and
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, it's kind of like, whew,
Yeah.
I dodged that bullet. But yeah, man, I always have had a huge passion for training people, and then looking at it from the self-defense side, being able to teach people, we've talked about it, how crazy the world is, teaching people how to get home safe.
Yeah.
That is, I tell people all the time when I teach a self-defense class, my goal is for you to make it home, and you be able to do what you got to do to go home and eat supper. That's all I care about.
Right.
And especially in law enforcement, teaching those guys techniques and things that they can do, and to make sure they're going to make it home to their family. And so yeah, we got boxing classes going on. I got some guys that are kickboxing. AJ's got that fight this weekend, and then I've got 3 guys that are looking at kickboxing matches in November and December, like back to back.
Oh, okay.
So good thing is it keeps you active. You don't worry about cutting weight twice.
This is true.
Yeah,
This is true.
yeah. And
that's
so,
the hardest part.
It is, but yeah, man, I love training people. I love helping people. My problem is I have too many hobbies. I work crazy hours, and then I want to train everybody that's fighting. I want to build furniture with pallets, and it's like I got too many hobbies going on. But number one, it keeps me busy.
I was about to say, man, you're like me. I don't do good with downtime. Like,
No.
my brain's got to be focused on something.
Well, and to me, that kind of helps me deal with crap that I see at work.
Sure. Yeah.
If I'm
gotta
staying
have an
busy,
outlet.
if I'm staying busy, and you got to have a healthy outlet.
I always make jokes. This
Yeah.
is cheaper than therapy for
Yeah.
me, but it is what it is.
It is, But and that's why a lot of people don't understand. Like we talk about law enforcement and mental health. That's why cops have this crazy sense of humor. They can say stuff and laugh about it, and everybody else around's like,
What's wrong with
"Ooh,
you?
that wasn't real funny." But
Yeah.
you put a cop and a firefighter and an EMT together, dude, and they'll crack some jokes about some stuff that you're just like, "Ooh, that wasn't cool."
Yeah.
Right. And so whether just weird stuff.
It's just a way to deal with things.
It is. And so, but yeah, man, that's just kind of been my whole goal is just to impact people and make a difference in people's lives. And so, we got some kids over there that need some mentoring and need some manly strength in their life.
And I coached baseball in that area where you're talking about.
Yeah.
And so, in generally, the kids that I coached, they didn't have the best of life,
Yeah.
going on. So, I tried to always, when you say you try to make an impact on them, I remember one time we got throttled. We were getting beat like 28-3.
Yeah. That's when they turned the scoreboard off.
It was a third inning.
Yeah.
Middle schoolers, like, you have to play at least so many innings to get a full game in, no matter what the score is. And the parents were like, we can't come back from this. We can't quit. And I mean, we can't win. Let's just quit because they were cold and it was drizzling.
Yeah.
And I was like, absolutely not.
Yeah.
We will not quit until this game's over.
Yeah.
I said, if y'all think, I told them, I put them all to the side. I said, if you think getting beat this bad in a baseball game is the worst thing that's ever going to happen in your life, I pray to God this is the worst thing that ever happens in your life. Because life is way harder.
Heck yeah, man. Life will beat you up, chew you up, spit you out.
I even had the parents,
smash you on the ground.
I told the parents, I said, do not leave. You're going to hear what I have to say to your kids. And I was hoping that it would sink into some of them and just like, let's just quit.
Yeah.
No, we ain't quitting until it's done.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
win or lose,
I saw a meme the other day, and it was a picture of basically a little bitty boy facing a giant. So David versus Goliath, and it said, "I'm one of the few people in the world that just can't quit."
Yeah.
And that's always been me. Back when I was fighting all the time, dude, I didn't have the most talent. I was not flexible. I wasn't like a big head kicker and all these crazy kind of fancy kicks.
Yeah.
But one thing I would not do was quit. There's been times where I wanted to.
Yeah.
There's been times when I've got hit so hard I about swallowed my mouthpiece.
Yeah.
And I look on the ground, I'm like, it'd be really easy to just lay down for a minute and just be done with this. This hurts. But then you shake your head, no, that ain't gonna happen to you.
Yeah.
And
Not
so,
today.
Not today, not ever. I fought a guy over in Coleman, Alabama one time. The guy's name was Mongo. He was Butterbean's former sparring partner.
Really?
Yes. He was 6'6", about 350, and moved like he was about 185.
Hey.
And so in a tough man contest, that second night, you may fight one time, you may fight 4 times, whatever. Dude, he was knocking people out with like 1 or 2 punches. And so we were in the final fight. They brought us together in the middle of the ring. I had to look up to him. And that's a lot for me.
Yeah, you're a big dude.
Yeah. And back then I was about 225. And so they brought us together in the middle of the ring. He looked at me, and I'll never forget it, dude. He says, well, I guess I got to hurt you now. I said, dude, you ain't got what it takes. You better go home and start over. And I'm telling you, dude, for 3 rounds, we beat the snot out of each other. He was a hometown guy. It was a close decision. He got the call. Okay, whatever. My nose ran for like a week. He hit me in the sinuses so much. But I saw him like maybe about a month later at another fight, and he came up to me and he said, hey, man, I want to talk to you for a second. Okay. He said, dude, let me tell you something. He said, I've sparred some of the best in boxing. He said, I've sparred Shannon Briggs. I've sparred Tony Tucker. I've sparred Butterbean. He said, I've sparred Riddick Bowe. He said, none of them ever hurt me. He said, by God, you freaking hurt me. I was like, dude, why didn't you fall down?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, but he said, when we come to the middle of the ring, and I told you that, and you just looked at me and said, no, you better go home and start over. I thought, this might suck a little bit. And dude, it was nasty.
He wasn't going to be a tomato can.
Not
He knew
at all.
immediately.
Yeah, he knew he knew you were going to be in the fight.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, that's the kind of stuff you have to instill in your kid's head.
That's right.
This ain't no video game. You don't just quit and start over. This is life.
Yeah.
And life has consequences. And that's one thing, man, I tell cops all the time when I teach defensive tactics. They did a study several years ago, I don't remember when, but basically they interviewed a bunch of cops that had been involved in a fight for their life. More than just drawing your gun, bam, shooting us over, but actually fighting for their life. Yeah, fighting over a knife or whatever, fighting for their life. And in about 89% of those cops, every single one, 89% of them said that during that event, they pictured somebody's face in their brain. And that's who they knew they were fighting to go home to. And I tell them all the time, rookies, and I tell them at the academy, today, right now, you make up your mind who you're fighting to go home to. And go ahead and have that set in stone. And I don't care if it's your mama, your dog, your kids, or whatever, but when that time comes, you better know who you're fighting to go home to. Because I've always told them, I said, look, mind my kids, dude.
Yeah.
And I don't care if I got to shoot you, stab you, hit you in the head with a brick, bite you throat out. I don't care. I'm going home to see my babies. Right. And I've said it before. And I always tell them, the guy that runs the academy, he always has me tell the story. So ever since I started police work, Bennett was 2. She just turned 3 when I graduated academy. We always do the same thing. And I always tell her, I said, Bennett, baby, I love you bigger than big old sky. And she said, Daddy, I love you bigger than big old world. I said, always? She said, Always, always. I said, Daddy, what? She said, Daddy comes home no matter what. And I said, who do we feel sorry for? She said, anybody that tries to stop it. Because she has to know I'm gonna do what I gotta do to get home.
Yeah.
I don't care what it is.
Yeah, and that gives her a peace of mind too.
It does.
You know what I mean?
And so that's kind of how I try to teach our self-defense classes, and try to teach cops too, man. That, you know, like we talked about before, when crap hits the fan and you gotta go, you gotta go.
Yeah.
And you're gonna look at people who don't know what to do. They freeze because they live in that, what we talked about before, the color codes, man.
Yeah, that's a huge problem. Yeah. And that's the majority of the world.
It is.
Everybody freezes.
And so, you know, last year you had 7 million brand new gun owners. People never owned a gun before in their life.
Never even touched a gun.
No.
Much less fired.
Yeah. And so with our gun classes, we get a lot of people, man, that come in a lot, and you know, nothing against Miss Ladies a lot of times. And they're like, well, my husband bought me this gun 2 years ago. I've never shot it. I don't know how to work it, but I carry it every day.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, what are you gonna do with it?
Throw it?
Yeah. Nah. You gonna give it to him and so he can shoot you with it?
Yeah, no kidding, no kidding.
And so, so yeah, man, that's a huge problem. I love that people are getting firearms to protect themselves, but they need something more than their drunk Uncle Ernie at Thanksgiving to teach them how to shoot.
Shooting tin cans
Yeah,
off
dude.
of a picket fence.
And you know, or they can't even hit the fence.
Yeah.
And so, like we had a guy in our last class, man. He was older, I guess you'd say. Said he'd been shooting his whole life. Dude, you put a .380 pistol in his hand, he could not hit that wall behind you.
He did better throwing it
Yeah,
at somebody.
he did. And it's like, dude, you know, and it was all technical issues. There wasn't anything wrong with the gun. You know, I'll grab it and you know, and put like a you know, a really short, tight grip on it. But it's technical stuff. It's how you hold it, how you stand. Are you locking your arms out? How you absorb recoil? All those kind of things. To me, I always tell people it's like golf. You know, there's a lot of small things you got to do to be a really good golfer. Yeah. To be a really good shot, it's the same thing. Yeah. But I can teach you to be a scratch shooter, I guess you'd say. You know, in about 3 hours. Yeah. You know, and I can get you past that. I can get you past the fear. So a lot of times ladies come in and they hold the gun by their fingertips and they're like, you know, think it's just gonna go off. Yeah. And I'm like, it's not gonna.
It's not a rattlesnake.
Yeah. It's not
it's
a. You know, it's not just gonna go bang because you're holding it. Yeah. And so my first goal when I got new shooters is number one, get them over the fear. To me, it's kind of like the difference between a respectful fear and just I lost my mind kind of fear. And so I want them to have a respectful fear, but I don't want them to be so afraid that they just kind of look at it like it's, like you said, like it's a rattlesnake. It's going to bite them. I want to get them over the fear. I want to get them comfortable enough to shoot it, to load it, unload it, and things like that. Because here's the thing, a lot of people won't pick their gun up because it's loaded. They don't know how to unload it. Their husband loaded it for them.
But they have no idea.
They have no idea,
yeah.
Right? And they have no idea how to clear a malfunction or anything like that. And so that's one of the things we try to do in our basic gun class is to get people comfortable with that situation. You know, they might not be totally comfortable with something going, you know, exploding in their hands, but they're not scared to death and thinking it's gonna bite them. In all the classes we've probably done, I guess maybe in the last 2 years, 9 or 10 classes. I've had one person in all that time, they just go, you know what, stick for me. And at that time, it was her husband pushing, and she just wasn't ready. And so, and I respect that. I would rather somebody say, hey, this just ain't for me.
You get out there and hurt themselves or somebody.
Yeah, exactly right. And so, so we cover a lot of the basic stuff. We cover unloading, reloading, and stuff like that, so that you know what to do if something happens. Because, like with us in law enforcement, every call we go on, there's at least one gun. We got it on our hip, right? Yeah. There's at least one gun. For me, if I go, there's two, because you know I got a backup gun, and you don't never know what they got. Sure. We arrested a guy the other night. He had got into it with this girl in a convenience store parking lot. Go figure that one. And we get out with him, talking to him. He's like, man, you know, we just kind of got into an argument, kind of got pushing and shoving. He said, but nobody threw punches or whatever. And she had walked off. We couldn't find her, couldn't make contact with her. So, you know, basically in the state of Georgia, you don't have a victim, you don't have a crime. So we're talking to him and running through dispatch, and he has a warrant. So we go to put him in cuffs. Guys with me, he's like, hey man, anything in your pocket gonna stick me, poke me, anything like that? No. He reaches in his pocket, he's got a little 32 Derringer.
Oh my God.
It's like, dude, really?
What do you think this is?
Yes. And he's like, oh, I didn't think about it.
Well, it's not gonna poke or stick you.
Yeah. He's like, well, I didn't think about it. I said, dude, I carry a gun every single day.
Yeah.
Every day.
And
If I got pants on, I got a gun on.
You
I'm
know
sitting
you
here
got a
talking to
gun.
you and I got a gun.
Yeah.
And I know it's there.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna walk around with one in my pocket and go,
forget.
oh, I forgot my gun was there.
It's like people, like women in the grocery store picking up the roast beef and going having a baby. How
Yeah.
do you know I was pregnant?
Yeah.
How you not know you're pregnant?
Dude, I'm telling you, well, you're not sick. Yeah. And so man, people are different. They really are. You know, I had a coach used to tell me all the time, life would be great if it wasn't for people.
Yeah.
You know, and so
True.
between self-defense stuff and gun classes and stuff like that, man, like I said, I got way too many hobbies.
When's your next gun class?
So we're doing one September 18th, so
Okay.
weekend after next.
Yeah,
I've still got some spots. So what we do is from 9 to 1. We have it at a buddy of mine's house. He's got some property behind his house, super great guy. He allows me to come into his house and we do about a 40-minute PowerPoint presentation to go over like Georgia law, constitutional law, what are your rights as a gun owner, you know, what you can do, what you can't do. And also kind of go over the situation of, okay, something happened, an event happened, now what do you do?
Get them over that freeze factor.
Yeah, dude, because you know a lot of people, they're going to be standing there with a gun in their hand. Cops are going to come barreling in the door, not really know what's going on, and all I see is somebody standing with a gun in their hand.
They're the
and
first ones getting tagged.
and you're wanting to tell me your story,
Yeah.
right? And it's not the time.
You're coming up to you like, this is what's going on.
Yeah, and I'm sitting there with an AR in my hand going, put it down, put it down, put it down. And you're like, well, I'm the good guy. And it's like, you ain't going to be good.
Yeah.
Put your gun down, right? And so talking them through that of, hey, when cops get there, we got to make the scene safe. Put the gun on the ground, right? Don't try to tell me your story. Just put it on the ground.
Yeah.
And we'll deal with it.
We're going to talk to people that don't hold guns.
Yeah, pretty much. And because like I said, the information we have may not be super great. Like we talked about clothing, you know, it's this, it's this, it's this, and then you come in and it's like, no, that ain't what I'm seeing. And all I can do is go off what I see.
Right.
And I've got to make the scene safe for everybody else. You can tell me your story, but you're probably gonna tell me after you're on the ground and you got handcuffs on.
Yeah.
And I will
And a goose egg on
yeah,
your
well,
head.
no, as long as you do what you're told, you won't. But I'm gonna, you know, I'm, you know, once I find out what's going on, I'm gonna pick you up, dust you off, say, you know, hey. But you know, as long as you cooperate, that's the thing. People
Cooperation
yeah,
is key.
well, people think they don't have to cooperate. It's like, oh, I can do what
Because
I want.
the news has made them think they don't have to cooperate.
Yeah. Well, here's the deal. There's a law in Georgia. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it is in the official code of Georgia annotated as 1610-24. That is called obstruction of a law enforcement officer. If I tell you to do something, and it's reasonable for me to tell you to do it, and you don't do it, you go to jail.
Mm-hmm.
Plain and simple.
Yeah.
If you don't think you should be put in cuffs, but the situation I can't talk, I'm sleepy, dictates that you should be in cuffs, and I go to put you in cuffs and you try to fight because you want to tell me you don't need to be in cuffs, you're probably gonna get dumped on your head.
Yep.
You know, you're probably gonna be eating pavement.
Yeah.
You know, Kevin Moraine that runs the police academy over here at Georgia Highlands, he had a saying, buy the ticket, ride the ride. You know, you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes.
That's right.
And so if people would just understand and cooperate, a lot of these police encounters would not go sideways.
It would not be escalated to the point to where somebody's even going to jail.
No. So I pulled this kid over one time for not having on a seatbelt. Right, he's coming out of one of the nefarious hotels on Martha Berry. He's don't have a seatbelt on, so I pulled him over. I started talking to him, and as I'm talking to him, I can't. You know how you can feel somebody's presence, right? So I look over my shoulder, and the guy's walking up to me, and I was like, "Whoa, hang on, dude, stop!" And he's like, "I don't know what's going on." I said, "Dude, it doesn't matter what's going on. You need to back up."
Yeah.
So he gets like to the back end of the pickup truck from me, and immediately shoves his hand down in his pocket. And dude, my gun's already out of holster. I'm ready to go to work. And he's like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa!" I said, "Dude, you better pull your hand out of that pocket, and it better be empty." And so now I've got him in front of me, and I got this kid beside me. So now my attention's divided, which is not good for me, not at all. So he gets his hand out of his pocket. And I'm telling him, "Look, dude, walk away." Well, now this lady comes walking up. Why are you stopping him? That's my son. I was like, "Man, I don't care who it is. Y'all need to go on." So I get them finally to leave, and she's, I'm gonna call the sergeant. I'm gonna call the sergeant. Man, you call whoever you want to call. I don't care. So I tell the kids, so look, man, all I was gonna tell you to do is put your seatbelt on.
And now it's
now we're in this.
Yeah.
So she calls and makes a complaint on him. So she called dispatch, wants to talk to the sergeant. Sergeant at the time calls her. He calls me back. He said, hey, where you at? And I told him. He said, I'm coming to you. Okay. So police cars have dash cam videos, right? They can either be turned on by pushing a button on your body pack, or when you turn your blue lights on, your front blue lights, they automatically kick on. Or if you go, I think the ones in Rome, if you go over 91 miles an hour, they kick on. I think that's what it was. But anyway, they automatically kick on when you turn your blue lights on for like a traffic stop. So it was recording. He jumps in my car. He had like a little monitor screen. He watches my video. He calls her, and he's got her on speakerphone. And he said, "Ma'am, told him who he was, started, and I won't drop his name, but he said, ma'am, what's the problem?" And she's like, well, he pulled his gun on my friend and all this other kind of stuff. And he said, well, look, here's the deal. Your friend was told not to walk up on this traffic stop. If you interfere with a legal traffic stop, that is obstruction. You can go to jail, right? Number two, he made a
Which
very
is common sense.
You would think so, but it's really not.
Yeah.
But he reached his hand in his pocket in a very aggressive manner as he was approaching the police officer, right? He said, the only issue I have with what that officer did was he didn't take both of y'all to jail.
Yeah.
He should have took both of you to jail. He said, but he had a high intense situation that he handled the best way possible and got y'all gone. He said, but if I had any complaints about what he did, he didn't take you to jail. And she's like, well, he pulled his gun on my friend. And he said, your friend reached in his pocket.
He's like, he didn't get around to that chest.
That's exactly right. In an area that people carry firearms in a very aggressive manner, while the police officer's telling him not to come forward. You're exactly right. He was really lucky he didn't get shot.
Yeah.
And so it's those high intense, very fast situations that make the news. Because if I had shot him and he didn't have a gun, oh Lord, police officer shoots an unarmed man, right? Legally, based off the totality of the circumstances, I would probably have been fine.
Or if you had to overthink a situation, well, should I do this? Should I not do this? And the next thing you know, somebody's got a gun pulled on you.
Yeah. Well, it's like you see the memes of you got two guns. One's a BB gun, one's a real gun. Which one's real? Pow, you're dead.
Yeah.
You ain't got that kind of gun.
You don't have that time.
Yeah. And people get upset because they're like, oh, well, this 16-year-old kid got shot because he pointed what looked like a gun at a police officer and it was a BB gun. Well, you don't know. You can't make that decision.
Right.
Yeah, they got these little orange caps, but they'll pull them out, dude. And so, because they're, some people use them to rob stores, right?
Yeah.
They can't get a real gun, so they get a BB gun, they rob a store with it.
And when you, in that situation, you can't differentiate what's what.
No, you don't have that kind of time.
Yeah.
You got something pointed at you that looks like a gun.
Walks like a duck.
Yeah.
Talks like a duck.
Yeah.
Swims like a duck.
Yeah, it's probably a duck.
It's probably a duck.
Yeah. And so, so being able to respond in those situations, man, even in a civilian side, trying to put people in not those circumstances, but more like those circumstances where they've got to draw a gun. We've done parts in our classes where we just got their heart rate up, like doing some squats or jumping jacks or whatever, and said, okay, run up there to that line and shoot 2 rounds. Dude, and you look up and there's one way over here in left field and there's one down here, in the hip. And it's like,
You're in trouble.
Yeah. If you can't control that. And so we do that with police officers a lot too, man. Like SWAT guys, we'll get that heart rate up, we'll get them amped up, and then go tell them, hey, and I'll take the target and I'll divide it into sectors, and I'll number the sectors, and I'll spray paint a color on there. And so I'll be like, get their heart rate up, they're running, they're doing whatever, and I'm like, okay, go, blue 7. And so they'll run to the line trying to find blue, trying to find 7 or whatever. And yeah, you'll see where non-trained people can make some mistakes. And so you're expecting police officers, some of them who have very minimum training, to make these high-risk decisions, and then crucify them because they make a mistake.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm all about people making a mistake. They should pay consequences. But guess who else should pay consequences? The criminals that make mistakes.
That's right.
They don't get a free pass. If you're going to hold me to a standard, then everyday people get held to that standard.
That's exactly right.
And you can't go, oh, well, they were a good person. Yeah, That's like
That's your opinion.
Well, I mean, did you see the video of that kid's mom that killed that police officer up in Detroit, that female officer?
Yeah.
Did you see the mom's video?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, he was a good person. He's misunderstood.
Yeah. He just
No, he wasn't. He walked up and shot two
Yeah,
guys,
just shot two
ambushed them.
Yeah.
And so yeah, you can't do that. You can't say, oh, they're a good person, and just like told them to get
Some sympathy
circumstances
from the media.
Yeah, man.
They should never even put that on.
Yeah, it's all about a check, bro.
Yeah, absolutely. Get more people, just like us. We get more listens, we make more money.
There you go.
So the news is yeah. So.
Yeah.
Well, James, tell everybody how they can get in touch with you for
Okay.
the next gun class.
All right, so
and any boxing.
yeah, man, any kind of self-defense classes, or guns, or whatever. It's Forge, F-O-R-G-E, Tactical. It's on Facebook, and we can hook you up there. We always put our schedule, what classes we got coming up. There's always an event link so you can sign up. If you don't have a gun or don't know what kind of gun you want, we have it set up where we'll provide you a gun, we'll provide you for ammunition, and we have several different styles, calibers, and everything else, so that you can kind of get what works for you.
Awesome.
Not all guns work for all people.
Gotcha.
You got small frame females who don't need to be walking around with 357 magazines.
357.
Yeah, that's it, man. But I've had ladies who are very small frame that I put a full size 5-inch Colt government model 45 semi-automatic in it, dude, in their hand, and they will shoot it like a tack driver.
Yeah.
So you just got to kind of find what works for you.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, hey, thank you so much for coming in again.
Yeah,
I know
man.
you need to go and get some sleep.
Sleep. Who needs it?
Let's do this again soon.
Yes, for sure.
And today's moral of the story in this podcast is don't drink all your mama's orange juice.
There you go.
There's gonna be consequences.
And deal with Coke if you want some tea.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
All right, man. Thank you so much. It's
All right,
good to
brother.
talk to you. Talk to you soon. Be
Yeah.
safe.